Hello my dudes, it's Saturday at 1 a.m. and I'm about to begin the downward spiral into hell. We're gonna have to be really quiet here because my parents are asleep, so it's time for some nice ASMR. I've wanted to make this video now for a couple months, but here's the thing. Every time I sat down to film it, I came to the realization that, Joanna, you're absolutely insane if you actually go through with this. But this weekend, I told myself that I'm gonna do it if it's the last thing I do. And this video might sound like quite the doozy, but I honestly believe that if I'm prepared, I can get through this. So what have I done to prepare for this video, you may be asking? Well, number one, food. I know it sounds stupid, but guess what? I'm a ravenous child. I go to school and all I'm thinking about is when am I going to be able to eat next? I roughly estimated that I would be hungry every 4 hours, so I had to make 6 relatively low-calorie meals so that I didn't blow up my daily caloric intake. I made butternut squash, spaghetti squash, acorn squash, even that dreaded tuna sandwich. I'm willing to give it a second chance. Scrambled tofu, zucchini noodles. I made a lot of food, but it was all in the name of not being ravenous. Number 2. This one's obvious. Sleep. How was I going to deal with not sleeping for 24 hours? I've never pulled an all-nighter, so this is going to be quite the experience. Here's what I did. As soon as I got home from school on Friday, I took a shower, cooked up a storm in the kitchen as aforementioned, and went to bed at 4 p.m. That's right. I woke up 6 hours later at 10 p.m. My logic, hopefully if I made this video only a couple hours out of sleeping, there would be a chance that I might just pull through. Something else that I need to mention before we begin is that obviously there's no way that I can actually prove to you that I really did paint for 24 hours. I'm aware of that, and unfortunately this is just one of those instances where you're just gonna have to believe me. And you know what? If this isn't the face of trustworthiness and accountability, I don't know what is. Now, right now it's 12 a.m. On a normal day, if I had just woken up, I would be eating breakfast, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm eating breakfast at 12 a.m. So I'm just gonna finish this tortilla and then we can start painting, my dudes. At exactly 1:04 a.m. this roller coaster began. The photo I was painting was this one. I found it in the bowels of Pinterest and it's very aesthetic. I'll put a link to it in the description box below. I saved myself some of the trouble by already having sketched out the proportions earlier that day. Back to the painting. I started by doing an underpainting. Personally, I don't really enjoy doing underpaintings. I prefer to just paint right on the canvas, but I decided to give it a try since the internet pretty much screams at me every time I make a painting video to do one. So we've just finished the underpainting. I'm waiting for it to dry. We're gonna start on the background now, and I'm gonna use acrylic paint because I feel like it'll be easier to layer than oils. I feel really bad for whoever this is. I could just imagine waking up one day and hearing that Joanna Cedia has butchered your face in paint form. It's only been 38 minutes of me doing this and I already want to stop. Anyways, let's keep going. Then it was time to tackle the sky. In the photo, the sky is incredibly light. It's almost white. So all I had to do was make it look like a Smurf poo-pooed on the canvas and smeared it around very badly. Moving more into the foreground, I then painted the grass. I started by blocking in some of the darker tones and then adding in the lighter ones. I just sounded like a legit artist when I said that. Take that, Claude Monet! Hello. It's 4 a.m. right now, so you know what that means. Time for my snack. We're gonna eat some artichokes. It sounds disgusting, but I don't really have many more options. The painting, not gonna lie, I'm pretty surprised with how it's turning out. The grass looks really good for my standards at least. Actually, this eating reminds me of a little bit of a rabbit hole that I fell down on YouTube a couple days ago. I started to watch mukbang YouTubers, and let me just say, first of all, too much sauce, like way too much. And second of all, can we stop with the slurping, please? We're gonna be switching over to oils now. I'm excited because I love oils way more than acrylic paint. It's much more satisfying, you know, and the paint doesn't dry in like 0.2 seconds, so you don't feel like you're waging a war with your canvas every single time you try to paint. Anyways, let's keep going. So I set out some oil paints, particularly some earthy tones in the primary colors, and got to painting. Now, I always like to start by painting the eyes. Should I have done that in this painting? In hindsight, probably not, because one, they didn't really end up looking cohesive with the painting, and number two, it looked like her eyes were sucking you into the deep void of her colorless, cold, and dead soul. Anyways, on went the blue paint onto the canvas. I was watching Daria Kali on YouTube the other day, aka an artist who actually knows what she's doing, and she told me that the whites of your eyes are not actually white, but rather a milky gray color. How does that help you? I don't know. All I know is that it threw me for a bit of a loop. To paint the skin around her eyes, I used this ridiculously minuscule detail brush that I bought off from Michael's the other day. It literally has like 3 hairs on it, and it's excellent for getting in all those nooks and crannies. When I got to the nose, things got a bit sticky. She looked lopsided. She looked like a sad contestant on Botched. The forehead arrived with the ferocity of Debbie on Boxing Day. I have to admit, the model in the photo has a very rectangular forehead. Maybe it's just a trick of the light, or maybe it's just cocaine, but I did struggle with it a considerable amount. It was 7:23 a.m. when the sun was awoken by my madness. What? I kept on painting. Her lips were the color of a Maybelline commercial. Easy breezy beautiful, I just killed my ex and smeared his blood on my lips. Ew. Good morning, my dudes. So it's around 8 a.m. right now, and it's time for my second snack. I'm gonna eat some acorn squash now. The painting is looking kind of strange, not gonna lie. I think it's because she doesn't have any hair, so she kind of looks like Carly Kloss, but if she was 10 times more frightening. I have to comment on the fact that I'm doing everything wrong. There is no technique whatsoever here. Honestly, if I went into an art class and started doing my thing, I'm pretty sure the teachers would pass out. It's really starting to hit me right now. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm running on fumes and we're only 8 hours in. Bon appetit. It was time to paint the hands and the rest of her exposed skin. I have to say, the hands in this photo are in really weird positions. It's like some contortionist type stuff. Nevertheless, I painted her left hand quite quickly. Don't ask me how long it took to figure out which of her hands was the left one, but her other hand put up more of a challenge. In the photo, it looks like a velociraptor claw, so it was quite challenging to paint it without making it look like frog hands. Other things it looks like: the hand of a sloth, this person with only 3 fingers, the digits of every Pokemon ever. Okay, I'll stop. Okay, so we finished all the skin. We're 9 hours in, 15 left to go. I'm gonna start on the clothes next, and then we'll move on to the hair. Finally, I'm gonna have to find a way to make it all dry really quickly so that I can put all the grass and stuff over top of it, because the photo has like greenery and shrubs intertwined all over it. So I'll have to figure that out. I'm falling asleep. Let's move on. It was already 10:20 a.m. I started painting her shirt, and I was honestly doing pretty well if I do say so myself. I had gotten a sudden boost of energy, but for now I would like to give a quick show and tell presentation of the songs I was listening to. Number 1, Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. This isn't a song you would probably listen to while painting because it makes you irrationally angry, but I paint better when I'm angry, so it worked in my favor. Actually, I work better when I'm angry in general. Fun fact, when I was in grade 3, my school would hold these plays every year to get parents to funnel more money into the principal's pockets. It worked because the prospect of being in The Lion King really did rile all those 10-year-olds up. Now, to get a spot in the play, you had to audition by singing a song of your choice. Guess what song I chose? That's right, Eye of the Tiger! My performance was magnificent. Anyways, thought that was cute, but let's get back to the video. Number 2, Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. I just realized how long I've been sleeping on Fleetwood Mac, and I must admit, I am heavily ashamed. Their songs are amazing, and the group themselves gives me Addams Family vibes, and I'm here for it. Numero 3, Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler. The first time I heard this song, I thought it was called Holding Out for a Herpes. That's it. That's all I have to say. Number 4, Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd. I wonder if this qualifies me to buy that Pink Floyd band tee from Brandy Melville like every white girl ever, even though I've never been to one of their concerts. Number 5, She's a Maniac by Flashdance. This song is really good because I am, in fact, a maniac. And number 6, this song is actually by Willow Smith. It's called Why Don't You Cry, and it's really groovy. Willow Smith is actually a very underrated singer in my opinion. Her voice is beautiful, and all I can say is that her hair whipping days are over. It was at this point that things took a nosedive. It was 12:10 p.m. I had just eaten my 3rd meal of the day, and the post-eating tired spell had just began to set in. I was losing steam. It was time for me to take matters into my own hands. That's right, ladies and gents. I indulged in the finer things in life and took a caffeine pill. Needless to say, I was on fire again. I sat down with a new determination in my eyes. I painted her orange pants, or skirt, apron, picnic blanket, whatever you want to call it, and I went insane with this fiery hue. It's 4:18 right now, and I've just finished whatever the heck that is. I tried to follow the shapes in the photo as much as possible, but not gonna lie, they are some very weird shapes. So now we're gonna tackle her luscious locks. My mom came by earlier and said that she kind of looks like Christina Aguilera, and I have to admit she does. Funnily enough, I'm still not hungry. I don't know what stars aligned, I don't know what miracle was cast upon me, but I'm not hungry, and that is an anomaly. So yeah, let's keep going. Then I started on the hair. I hate painting hair. It never works for me. I loathe it. I tried what everyone has ever told me to do. Put in the dark parts and then add in the light. Did it work? Nop. Was I fed up? Yop. This is frustrating me a lot. Like a severe amount. I'm irritable, tired, and hungry. It's a triple threat if I might say so myself. You know, I could be doing so many other things than this right now. I could be at Coachella listening to Tame Impala right now. Actually, I don't think I'd ever pay to get secondhand high in the middle of the desert while half naked. And then my good friend Trial and Error stepped in to wreak havoc. In an effort to save her hair and stop it from looking like spaghettified carpet, I used my detail brush. I tried using yellow, I tried just blending it all together, nothing worked. In the end, I just settled with this and got to painting her sombrero! Actually, this isn't a sombrero, is it? It's a sun hat. Sorry if I offended everyone and their uncle. Anyways, I like to imagine what this painting would look like if it had a fedora, or maybe a bandana. What about a beanie? Eventually, I finished the hat, and it was time for me to focus on the things in the foreground, like the grass and flowers. However, here's the issue. Oil paint takes ages to dry. Time is not a luxury at this moment, so I would just have to paint over it and hope for the best. Obviously, I did everything in my power to try to dry it as much as possible. I even waited 1 full hour to give it as much time to dry. At 9:41, I decided that I would wait no longer if I was to finish this painting in time, so I ate some zucchini noodles and butternut squash and got to finishing the painting. It was all finishing touches from here on out. The face was bothering me slightly, so I worked on deepening her eye sockets and adding some dimension to the face. 1 more hour went by. It was the home stretch now. I painted the grass. I thought this would be a disaster because the background on which I was painting it was still wet, but for some reason it allowed me to make these really delicate and blurry blades of grass. I was a fan of it. I painted the dandelions. The painting was starting to come together and I was living! I forgot how ugly the hair looked and went ham on those flowers. I must admit, I surprised myself here. I thought it was gonna look dreadful, but it didn't for my standards at least. The last hour arrived. I was still busy painting and I was actually really happy with it. For the first time in a while, I was actually happy of a painting I made. A rarity, if I might say so myself. I could not be stopped. I could not be tamed. Miley Cyrus 2019. 20 minutes left. I was not gonna halt my efforts here. No, no, no! The piece was coming together and I was excited. 2 minutes left, my troops! We have too many eggs in the baskets and not enough hens. I could not wait for this to be over, but I was having too much fun painting. 1 last brushstroke, 1 last dabble of paint, 1 last beating of the devil out of my paintbrush. The world was about to